Welcome to TechMan. This video is a recording of a live webinar, so you may hear references to live questions or features as they appeared at the time. With that in mind, let's dive in.
So if you've got the Advanced or the Pro system, you'll have access to all of these reports. If you've got the Lite system, you'll have access to most of them. It's just customer reports, personnel and user reports, and the TechU, of course, that you won't have. But the others you obviously will have on there, which we'll go through. So we'll go through in ascending order. Now, the TechMan system has an awful lot of reports in there, which brings through an awful lot of data. And I think what most people find, it's great that we do have a lot of things on there, because pretty much everything you're looking to report on, you can get. But I think most people often get confused with what they actually have to select to get what they want. So hopefully this will iron that out for you this afternoon. If you have got any questions, I will just keep a bit of an eye on the Q&A from time to time on here. If anyone puts anything in there, I'll get those questions answered for you. So the first lot of reports is your sales report, and this is the sales reports that can combine both your kind of products and labour. If you are looking for specific products and labour reports, they're further down, which we'll obviously go through in a little bit at a later time. But I'll just hit the day end report, and this will be the first report that we go through. So your day end report can show you so much, and you can really tailor it to exactly what you want to find. Now, the one thing that will always be on the day end report is what is invoiced today and paid today. When it says today, it means the date range that you select. So you can use this as a day end report, you can use this as a weekend report, you can use this as a month end report. The month is the maximum time you can run this, but any time between that, you can run the report for. Now, in true Blue Peter fashion, I've created a few of these earlier, and I have just done it on today, because I did it this morning. I was creating a few jobs that would go into these reports for the webinar. So this is our demo system. It's not a live system, so it will probably look a lot smaller than what your data would look like. But obviously, this is just for demo purposes. So what you're able to do as well, you're able to literally tailor it to exactly what you want. So if you don't want to see estimate statistics, your VAT summary, your date amended invoices, you don't have to. You can literally, if you wanted to just run it literally for what was invoiced today, then you can. I'll put what's remaining unpaid, products, uninvoiced jobs, all stuff like that. And then I'll generate the report for the 13th, which is today. So once that has loaded, it will come through, and the first section on there is always what is invoiced and paid on that day. So it will tell me here what method I paid with. So these three jobs that I created, 1 by cash, 2 by card, and then it will also tell me the actual cost I had on there. So the profit margins of each of those jobs, and then it will give me the average percentage on here as well. So this is the monetary value section, and this is the average percentage section on there. So it basically tells you everything that you might want to know and need to know. Obviously, some people or some garages like to more do stuff by profit margin and percentage, whereas some people just like to know literally the monetary value. Obviously, it gives you both on here, which is I think personally a great function on there. Now, coming down here, you have got what's remaining unpaid. Now, as I say, this is our demo system, so there'll be a lot that obviously are not paid on here. But what this will be showing you is literally what invoices as of yet you have invoiced but not paid. Or sorry, what jobs you have invoiced but have not been paid in your system. Now, you may realize that these have been paid kind of in situ, in real life, but not on the system. So you can just go onto the job and then make a payment. Or in the most likely case, these customers still won't have paid yet, so you can go and chase them up. Obviously, we're hoping that your dates will be nowhere near as far back as 2025. Again, this is our demo system, so that's obviously just why it's showing that. But this is what your day end report would look like, and I think most people pretty much just use this for the first section on here, the invoiced and paid section, which again shows you all of that in there. It's quite self-explanatory when you look at it in, with the rows that it shows you and stuff. But again, not everyone knows kind of where to find it and what it exactly does on there. For anyone that has just joined, there is a Q&A if you've got any questions on any of the reports that we go over today. So the card end of day, card payment end of day one, we haven't got a terminal configured to this demo system, but if you did, you'd be able to go on whichever terminal that was, and you'd be able to see what was taken on that terminal from the TechMan system on that day. So usually you would run this at the end of a day, or not kind of in the middle, at the end of the day, and you'd be able to see exactly on that card terminal. So if you had like 3 card terminals in your office, it would be 1 per terminal, and you can select the terminal. See, no configured terminals here, but if you had more than one, it would be a drop down so that you'd be able to select that. Similar with the take payments one, that's just obviously a different card terminal. If you have take payments, you would use that one. If you've got your Dojo card terminal, you would use obviously that one on there. This one only works with the integration that we have. So if you have Dojo or take payments, that report would work. If you don't have the card the card terminal integration with our TechMan system, then that report won't really be of use for you at this moment in time. Now in here, you've also got the work in progress report. So if I just generate this report, what you're able to see is what work you currently have in progress, but you can also see when it was last worked on by one of your technicians, as long as you have the Pro system or the advanced system. Obviously on the light system, it would just show the booking date, it would show when it was last worked on, but you could still have a good idea of what's basically forecast to come in to your garage. Obviously, unlike estimates and stuff like that, you know, you can't guarantee that you're going to get all of the estimate work over the line. In fact, you definitely know you're not probably going to get all estimate work over the line. Whereas this is literally your work in progress report. You've started work on this, so you can forecast for pretty much, I'd say 100%, 95% certain that all of this would come in. Because it's work in progress, it's being worked on, you know you're going to charge out for it. Whether you need to add parts and labour to jobs at a later date, so this may go up, or if you need to give a refund or a discount if something's gone wrong, this may go slightly down. But on the whole, this should be a fairly accurate forecast of what you're going to have in the coming days, as it is the work in progress report. So if I then go back onto sales reports, you've got your sales, bookings, and estimate reports. Now this report's really, really good for seeing the conversion rate. So this in here, the B stands for bookings, the E stands for estimates, and the C stands for conversions. So obviously on your systems, again, this is the demo system, so the numbers will not obviously be accurate to what a live garage will be doing throughout the months on here. But you can see how many bookings you had, how many estimates you had, and how many estimates were converted into a job. So the bookings would be your normal bookings that you've just started when you hit the reg lookup, that you've just hit new job on. So that doesn't take into account any estimates. So that's what the bookings is, just new jobs. The estimates is then literally how many estimates you've done, and then the C, which is conversions, is how many of those estimates have been converted into a job. So I don't know if some garages don't really want to take any notice of this one, but some garages like to know which one, like the conversion rate of their estimates. So if you want to know that, this is a really good way of knowing that. Also, I've just had a question. So what if you want to see a weekend report for all jobs invoiced or not? Sort of. So this one would, so basically on there, Maria, you can tailor this. So you can see anything that was, uninvoiced jobs, any refunds and pay today. So what I'd done on there, I had actually unticked that. But if you keep all of those ticked, it will bring through that data as well on there. So on this report, it isn't just what was invoiced today. You can see what was refunded today as well, or I say today, on that actual specific date range on there. So there's a lot of things, and the ticked boxes do literally say what kind of they do on the tin. They'll bring those things through on there. So when I ran that, I think actually you joined just after I generated it, so you may not have got this, so apologies about that. But what I'd done is I had ticked, I'd unticked a few things on there. If I'd have left that ticked, you can see the refunds that were done today, and you can see anything that's remaining unpaid. So that will be what's invoiced but hasn't yet been paid in your system for the jobs that have been booked out. I hope that answers it. If it doesn't, obviously let me know and I'll rephrase that for you. But that's how you can tailor that day-end report to see stuff like that. So on here you have got the no worries, Maria. No, you're all welcome. That's absolutely fine. So on here you've also got the geo report, which it stands for geography report. Hardly anyone uses this, but it is actually quite an interesting thing to see where your customer base really is. Now, in here we've got some of our local Northampton postcodes, and if I was to hit generate report, you can see where your customer base, where most of them are kind of coming from. So again, with this being the demo system, this is an awful lot less data than you would have in your actual systems. But on here you can see what postcode those customers have come from, which might help obviously your data collection, and also if you're ever doing any marketing, it may help you geographically do that on there too. The web bookings report, this is quite a self-explanatory one. If you guys have any web bookings, you can see what was brought through on the web bookings. So it wouldn't include any other jobs other than the web bookings one, but obviously we don't do that through the demo system, so that won't be on there. But on yours, you'll be able to see exactly what was brought through on the web booking side. And then the last thing, again, quite a self-explanatory one, the turnover report is literally your turnover for that date range, sorry. But it does break it up for you. So it'll do it on tyres, and then you can do it on products, labour, and then the grand total as well. So if you're only wanting to see the grand total, just scroll down to the bottom and you can see the full grand total for it. But if you're looking to break it up a little bit, you can see what products are there and what labour turnover you've had on that month via that sales report section. Obviously firing through, not quickly firing through, but just obviously making sure we get through all of this. That's the sales reports, sorry, and all of the things that can obviously be utilizable for you on there. I'll just see if there's any questions on that. No worries. So what you can then do is go to the customer reports. So in here, you've got a few things which really help you. Again, like with the geography report, you've got some things that can kind of help you maybe collect your data. So customer retention report, you can see any new / returning customers for that date range. So for the date range of March, our demo system, what we put through is 1 new and 1 returning customer, which obviously gives you then a 50-50 split. But when it comes to jobs, so for like myself in the demo system, I actually created 3 jobs on myself. So that said jobs, it's 3 jobs on a returning and 1 on a new. So, you know, if you've got multiple jobs in with maybe a certain account customer or something like that, that will be what differs between jobs and customers, which is why we've put that in there, because, you know, they can tell 2 different stories, and maybe, you know, if it was just customers, it wouldn't accurately show jobs and vice versa on there, which is why both of those are on there. And then you can see kind of the net profit margins as well between new and returning customers, which is always quite an interesting thing, especially if you're kind of maybe a garage that has been there for a while, seeing how many customers are obviously returning on there. The customer procurement report, not loads of customers do this, but if you take down how a customer has viewed your has come into your garage by obviously knowing about your garage, that will show on here. So you would generate the report, it would show you a list of all of the ways that a customer has seen your garage, if that's what you kind of take down. Now, a customer spend analysis. This one's really important, especially if a customer is like ever maybe disputing what they've spent, or if you say if you're doing any discounts and stuff like that, you can see what a customer's spent. So what you would do, you would have to hit their customer details and then generate the report. And for that month, you can see that this customer has had 3 jobs in, and in total they spent £214 on there. So if it's an account customer, and usually this is only used for account customers, but obviously you can use it how you want to, you can see exactly what that customer has spent in that month. And often some account customers may ask you exactly what they've spent in that month. You can then go through and see that in there. Yeah, sorry, Maria. Yeah, I've just seen your question. Sorry, I caught up on those questions. Yes. So in answer to your question, the customer procurement report, that's how you can see what how customers heard about you, whether it was like through word of mouth and stuff like that, like from a friend, Instagram ads, recommendation, internet search, stuff like that. Now the vehicle reminders report is basically, so if I generate this report, what it will give me is when that vehicle, when the reminder went out. So it's insanely similar, to be honest, to the customer reminders. It's more tailored onto vehicles rather than actual customers. So that's the difference between in settings and customer reminders, you get what reminders went out to customers, but this one, it's vehicle specific. So it's kind of what's gone out for that specific vehicle on there. So that'll be like an MOT reminder, a service reminder, timing belt chain, whatever you send out to your customers on there. Similar to a customer SMS and analysis report, you can do a date to and date from, and it'll give you a very similar list to the customer reminders, but that's just for SMSs, not for emails on there. Now, this is just a bit of a one which is, I think, just quite an interesting one. The vehicle statistics report shows you, and I know some garages tailor to like specific makes and models. I know I trained someone yesterday who specifically deals with Mercedes, but they do have other vehicles in as well, but mainly they do Mercedes. So it's a good way of seeing within the last it's in the last 12 months and then 24 months, 6 months and 3 months, it will show you what makes of vehicles have been in your garage at what time. And if you are working for a main dealer, if you're a main dealer yourself, or you obviously subcontract work from that main dealer, so it will be a specific make and model of a vehicle, you can see that in here, which is the vehicle statistics report. Again, probably not one that you really need in terms of to know loads about, but it's an interesting one to obviously have in there. And the estimate report, that is a report of all estimates created in this date range. So obviously I don't need to show that, but that's self-explanatory. You'll generate the report and it will show you the list of estimates that are on there for that month. Obviously gives you pretty much the same info that will be in the search estimates column here, but if you're in reports, obviously it's easier for you to go in there than search estimates on there. So the next section is the labour sales report. So you've got the labour reports, sorry. In here, you've got labour sales and labour sales itemised report. Both of these, a bit like the time-assisted ones with itemised and a bit like some of the accounting ones with the itemised. The itemised ones just gives you more information than the other ones. So I'll go through the itemised ones. So the labour sales itemised, you can select exactly what labour unit categories you want to see on here. So I'll just select these three, and then I'll select the date range that we've got on here. And on here, you can see what jobs were on here and what labour was used on those specific jobs. So again, demo system, only 4 jobs in this month. But if you had MOTs, the labour code will obviously be different on there. It would say MOT, or if it was services, it might say man serve, int serve, major serve. And you can see the average sale per unit on there, and that's purely for your labour. Now there is an identical one in here for products sales as well. Now if you're looking for labour sales, I'd always recommend the itemised one. The normal one's fine, but the itemised one just gives you that bit more information that you might need. And then you've also got the MOT log report. Now I haven't had any MOT logs, MOTs through for this month, apologies, but it will just give you a report of literally MOTs. So I know obviously MOTs are obviously different to the normal kind of standard job, and usually what some garages will obviously have designated MOT testers and stuff. So this will be a good way of not just seeing what MOTs are in, but also a list of what those MOT testers, what jobs they worked on throughout that month period as well. So that's what we'll show in the MOT log report. Quite self-explanatory on the name, but obviously helps you out on there whenever you need to see that. So now we've got the time-assisted labour report. So what this does is basically it kind of combines the efficiency with some of your technicians as well. So basically it'll say any time gained from that job, and also the revenue that was gained from that job as well. Obviously there's nothing in here because we don't obviously have the technicians on our labour side. But basically, it'll give you the labour code, the description of that labour, the job number that was on, and then any time gained or revenue gained from that specific labour report. But again, this is the itemized one, and I'd always anything in here, even like with I mean, I say invoices, they're a little bit different because some people obviously don't want prices being put on invoices, but itemized gives you that extra information that I personally think is better than the normal reports. But again, it depends what you're looking for on there. Itemized won't be for everyone. And then the last bit is the labour work completed. So you can look at any technician on here. So I'll just look at Tech 1. I'll just select jobs because it can be itemized and then technicians, but I'll always select jobs on this one because that'll tell you exactly what jobs they've completed. So I'll hit generate report. This tech has actually done none at this stage, but it will tell you on here the job number, invoice number, who it was assigned to. Obviously 99% of the time it will be assigned to the tech that you have ran the report for, but for example, if Tom, if there was a tech called Tom, if he was ill and Michael took over his role, his job, it would still be assigned to Tom, but Michael completed it. That's the only time that assigned to would be maybe different on the technician. And then you can see how many hours sold that technician did, the cost, the profit, and stuff like that. So it just gives you an idea of the money kind of being brought in by the work that the technicians themselves are doing on there. Let me just check the Q&A. Okay, no, there's no other questions. That's fine. On there, if there's any other questions on those ones, obviously just let me know. But the stock ones are very, very similar. We've obviously got product stock positions report, so you can select all of the whichever stock you want to, and then generate the report. And on here, you can order this in whatever way. I sometimes like to order this in quantity. So you can order it in a descending order, and you can hit whichever one. So if you want to order it by suppliers, you just hit supplier and you'll order it like that. If you want quantity, you hit quantity and it will order in the way of quantity. Now, this is very similar to your products and search products. In fact, it's pretty like for like, but it will give you the report of that. So if you want to download it on here onto a CSV file, you can, and it downloads literally like this. So it's in a bit of a nicer format to download than I guess the search products would be. And you can order that in any way, shape, or form that you like on there. Apologies about that. System isn't liking what I was doing, so just go back onto reports there, and then go back down to here. So you've got the same with tires as well. Now, obviously tires can be implemented a bit differently in the system. There's a lot of things that you've got the products sales, but you've also got the tire sales. You've got the tire stock position and the product stock positions. I won't obviously run those tire ones, but they will give you the exact same info that those product ones will give, but they will just bespoke to the tires. Okay. Now this is, I think, one of the best reports in the system. You've got the products and labor report. So if I generate this report, what this would give is the profit margins for each month that you've done on labor and products. And it kind of combines the two. So it would literally tell you everything: labor, sell, but also the profit, and the hours sold. Again, this being the demo system, obviously all of your garages will have so much more hours sold than this one. But you've also got the profit margins on here as well. This is the products and labor report, and I think this is a very, very beneficial one because it's all the information is just there. You don't have to kind of search for it. It's all there and tells you exactly for what month all of these lines correlate to. And I personally think it's really, really beneficial and can be very helpful if you need to tweak anything you do. And also, you know, if the product's margin is quite low as well, it'll tell you that straight away. There's no kind of trying to locate that and find it. It's just right there, which you can see. Obviously, really beneficial for you guys on there. Oh, there we go. Just on there, perfect. And then the product sales report, and this will be the same for the tires as well. And you can actually include tires on this. So if you want to run a report for everything combined, you can include tires on this. You don't need to run two different ones. But we have got the tire specific one. To say if you're a tire shop, for example, or I mean, we store our tires a bit differently to the other stock. We want it in different places. So it depends how you guys as a garage work. And, you know, with the amount of garages we have, everyone will work slightly differently, but that's why both options are in there. So what you'll just see, a bit like the labour sales report, you'll just see a job number and just the cost of products on there. So it won't be the cost of labour, it will just be the cost of products on those specific job numbers on there for you. Perfect. And then you've got on here, you've got so that same report but just for tyres. Then you can also see the tyre sales report by brand as well. So you can tick whatever brand of tyres you have in there, generate the report, and it will tell you, and you also put the date range in there, and it'll tell you the sale by brand as well on there, as well as the tyre turnover. So this sales report, in sales reports, we did the turnover report for this, exactly the same with the tyres as well. But obviously that just bespoke to tyres because they can obviously be a slightly different product in some garages, how you want to view it and how you want to also track them and keep stock of them. Now in the stock movements report, supplier apologies, if I just go onto here, generate report, all of your suppliers in your system, you'll be able to see how much money you've spent with them. So again, we just have loads of test ones on here, but GSF test we spent £10 with, so that's at the top of the list. And again, you can order this via total, you can order it via value, PO's value, all stuff like that. Order it how you obviously want to on there. Oh, it's not like me again, look at that. But I think that's quite a good one as well, especially if you're negotiating, I don't know, prices with your suppliers, of like having obviously an account with them and stuff like that. You can maybe show them this and go, oh, like I've spent this much more with you than I have with other suppliers, and make that obviously turn it to be quite beneficial for you guys as the customer, because it will mean hopefully you can maybe get a bit of a better deal. I don't know, we're not suppliers, so I don't know how it quite works, but maybe that could obviously work in your favour on there. And then you've obviously got the stock movement report. I say obviously, sorry, like you've got the stock movement report, sorry, and that will show you the movement of stock. So if you've had 3 more stock come in, the movement will be like +3. If you've had like 3 go out, like that would be on a job, it would be -3 and stuff like that. And then it will show how much stock is there, the stock description, the date, the product number, supplier, category, subcategory, all stuff like that. And the user, that'll be which user has added that on there. That's how you would do that on there. So where can Maria's just asked, where can we see if those customers actually came? So you can do on there, on a job, there is a how did you hear about us section. So you can go on there within the job, and that's how you would select how a customer heard about you. Not a lot of garages do it, but again, it is quite beneficial. So in a job, if you want to send that to a customer, or if the customer comes in, you can obviously write that down on there, and that's how the data in that report would come through on there. Helen, so would you use? So I don't know if you may have asked before I went through. So I'll just go through the report again. That's a really good question. So would you use the labour work complete report to see how many hours you've sold a month? So on the product and stock, and then products and labour report, on here you can see the hours sold of labour per month. So that's March, and we've sold 4.4. On here we've sold 1.75. So the best one for that would be the products and labour report on there, Helen. So Maria and Helen, hopefully those answered your questions for you. If not, please let me know. But that's how you can see that on there, Helen. I may not have gone through that before you asked, so hopefully that's ironed that out for you on there. Appreciate, obviously we've gone slightly over half past now, but I'll just quickly go through the accounting report. The accounting report is something that I think most of you will obviously already be aware of with how you do your accounts, but how you would get the reports, the invoices from your system into your accounting report, you'd hit customer itemized invoice credit reports, pick a date range, usually it'll be a month or a week, then you'd hit generate report. Now on there, if you're associated to QuickBooks, you'd have an export to QuickBooks button up here, and you would just click that. And as long as there was no like email discrepancies or phone number discrepancies, they go all the way through. If you have Xero or Sage, you'd hit download, hit whichever one was correlating. So if it was Sage 1, that would download a CSV in the exact style that Sage 1 requests us to download it for you. and then you would just upload it on the Sage or Xero side. That is the same way of doing things for customer payments and supply itemized invoices as well. Same process, generate your invoice after you've selected a date, and the same with customer payments and refunds as well on there. So the last section, I'll say the last section, we'll just quickly look at the user reports. That's literally your user activity. So you can see what you can check which user. So if I just go on to Web Seller Pro Support, you can check what time, and you can just generate the report, and it'll give you every action that user undertook in that job for you. In that job, sorry. It could have been on a job, but in the TechMan system on there. Now, we've got the personnel reports. So on the Pro, you're obviously able to check in and check out on the Pro. So that will be where the attendance report comes in. You can see exactly what time your technician entered and exited the workshop for every day. So if I just do today's date, because that's the only date that I've kind of done for testing purposes, and then generate the report, what you can see is that Technician 1 checked in at 8:52 today, and they haven't checked out yet. So their total time attended is 5 hours and 41 minutes. Now, Tech 2 checked in just after Tech 1 at 8:53, but they checked out at 11:58. And Tech 3 only checked in at 11:59. So it'll give you their total attended hours, and this will be a list of every day. So you can see what hours they attended every day, and obviously if it has met the hours that you request them to do and that you guys pay them to do, obviously every week on there. So that will help you out abundantly, I would say, on there. That's a really, really good report to obviously see what your technicians' hours are doing. Now, if you want to be a bit more specific, the state records report on here. So if I actually just go on to Tech 1, because you can do it for all personnel, but the attendance report and the state records report, I would always do it per technician. So again, if I just do it for today, you hit generate report, and you can see exactly what action was taken by those technicians at what time. So Tech 1 checked in at 8:52, and straight away he was work in progress from 8:52 till 12, and at 12 he completed that work, and then he went on to something else straight after. And you can see that he was on that job for so that they were on that job for 3 hours, 3.14 hours, and that was obviously the profit they did. But it's keeping track of exactly what they're doing at what time. Especially if you've got a tech which you're having issues with, like whether you're not convinced they're doing all of those correctly and everything, you can look on the personnel reports and obviously see that on there. Now on here you can so I've just got another question. How can I edit states for the terminal? So yeah, no worries. So if you go on to personnel, you can hit manage states, and on here you can add a state in there. So if you click add, you can add a state for them to go on. So we have one garage that literally has work in progress, break, or lunch. And then our garage downstairs generally has, I think, about 20 options. We've got running errands, in brackets work, we've got there's loads of stuff we've got on there, but you've obviously got on our demo system we've got valet here, work in progress, collection, delivery, MOT in progress. So if you want to break it down from work in progress and then MOT in progress, depending on obviously what your technicians are working on, you can do that too. So that's in personnel and manage states, and with the ever-present plus button in TechMan system, you can just do that there. Say if you want to make it available for all personnel, see what state you want to, if a job is required or not, and that's in all personnel and manage states. And you can have as many or as little in there as you want, depending on your size of garage, depending on what kind of work your garage carries out as well. On there. We also, there's one roadside recovery we have on there, and if you're actually doing the job on the roadside, if you can't like recover the vehicle, it's something like roadside work, or like completing job out of office, out of garage, something like that. So you can have obviously whatever states that you want to, which will tailor for your guys' kind of specific garage. No, you're welcome, Maria. That's absolutely fine. No worries. So that's kind of the penultimate report. It was just the efficiency report I was just going to go through last. So on here, you can see all, I've just done it for all personnel. Actually, that's fine. All personnel. Now, I obviously know they haven't actually logged on as technicians. So again, it's always a little bit harder to kind of appreciate when we're doing it on a demo system. But you can see what time attended. So that'll be like 3.15 hours for that technician in the day. But what you'll have, if you remember, that technician, Tech 1, spent 3.14 hours on this specific job. But their unproductive hours is 0.1 because for about 2 minutes, they weren't on anything. They weren't on a break. They weren't, sorry, if they're on a break, it would also go into unproductive hours. But if they weren't in any state whatsoever. So that's where the 0.1 came from. So their overall productive efficiency is measured by the time allowed and then the time taken on a job. And then the utilization is how often they're on a job whilst at work. So say if they were doing 40 hours of work a week and they were only working 20, the utilization would be 50% because it's half. So that's how the utilization is calculated. So you can see on here how efficient all of your technicians are being, and there is also a column description on here in case there's any confusion on this side. But this is a really good way again of seeing how productive your techs are being.
Thanks for watching. For more TechMan webinars, updates, and training content, don't forget to subscribe and explore our other videos. See you next time.